hello. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to say or how I'm going to talk or anything. My voice is gone. There's a cold going around at work and I've only been back for 3 days and I've clearly picked it up. But yes, so I'm sure this will already be obvious what this video is about, but apparently I am pregnant. This is a test. So I believe, as of filming this today, I am three weeks pregnant, I think, which isn't very much in the grand scheme of things. I'm still in that funny phase where I don't know if it's real or not. Yeah, so that's it. Apparently I'm pregnant. When I got this result, which was in America when I got the result, or flying home anyway, when I got the result I was like, oh my god, what have I done? I was literally horrified was my first thought, to be completely honest with you. I was happy but also horrified. My thought process now, I'm very happy, I'm a little bit horrified. It's a funny thought, funny feeling, and it's weird because my whole life is going to change and it's been the same, or it's been my life for the past 29 years and it's going to become someone else's life? No? Yes, it kind of is. My whole life's going to have to change. It's weird, I don't know. Obviously I'm still in the first trimester, as they say, which is like the time when you can't tell anyone, so only me and Sean know at the minute, because obviously anything can go wrong, which is not something we want to happen, obviously. Symptoms wise, the only thing I've had is cramps, which feels like period pain, but it's not, because you don't have a period. Yeah, no, that's all I've had, is that. I've had that for a few days. I haven't had it today so much. And I don't know if there's anything to do with it, but I keep getting a stitch in my left side, no, my right hand side. Whenever I'm walking the dog or doing long walks to work and stuff, I get a stitch in my side. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it at all, but I've never had it before. Didn't have it at all in America, and I've only had it now. So I'm not sure if that's related. Apart from that, I don't think I have had anything. No morning sickness yet, but apparently that starts at week 6. Cannot wait for that. I don't really fancy that. I've been a little bit paranoid, so I've been Googling everything. Haven't had coffee since I found out, or any caffeine at all, really, because I'm just terrified of doing something. I'm sure I'll get over it. It's just at the minute I'm just on that sort of like, I'll update you week by week. Nothing else to say at the minute, really. My life will be very different. And it's slightly terrifying. Well, no, it's not slightly, it's terrifying. I cannot believe it. Hello. So today is week 6. Yes, week 6 of pregnancy. And yeah, so far pretty much all good. I haven't had any, update wise, I don't seem to have any morning sickness yet. I have had a bit of nausea, but nothing at all extreme. I'd usually get the nausea if I haven't eaten breakfast, which is normal for me. Really, anyway. I'm still incredibly hungry a lot of the time, so I'll eat a small breakfast because I can't eat that much of it, and then by 11 o'clock I am famished. So I am more hungry than usual. That's pretty much the only, I was a bit tired yesterday. I haven't had too many like super obvious symptoms that aren't like my usual self, and that's why I'm a little bit confused about what's what. So yeah, that's interesting. One thing which is no fun at all is last week I was blessed with a cold. And if you didn't know this already, when you're pregnant, you can pretty much take 0 medication. I mean, I'm sure people do take medication, but I'm literally so paranoid about everything I'm doing, which is not ideal, but it's, you know, I'm sure this way everyone is for the first time they're pregnant. And so I couldn't take any, obviously any cold or flu medicine with caffeine in, because you're not allowed caffeine. I know you can have a small amount of caffeine, but I'd rather just not risk it. I'm eating bits of chocolate here and there, and that's pretty much my max. So kind of any cold or flu tablets with medicine, with caffeine in. I was going to have a cough syrup because I had a dry cough. I was going to have cough syrup, but it had glycerin in. And I googled glycerin and pregnancy, and it said there's been no studies on glycerin and pregnancy, so they can't say whether it's bad or good. And I was like, super. So I'm not going to take it then. You're not meant to take ibuprofen or aspirin anyway. They say the worst case scenario is take 2 paracetamol at the lowest dose. So I have had a few paracetamols. I didn't have that many, but there were points in my cold where I thought I was on death's door. So it was Vicks and paracetamol were the only thing that got me through this cold, which is crazy. So I can't believe I managed to survive with just basic, hardly any paracetamol and only Vicks. So yeah, a cold whilst being pregnant is zero fun. I'm hoping that does not happen again. Today was my first day of pure panic, and that is because I had some light spotting. You know, you girls will know what I'm talking about here. I had light spotting, and apparently it's completely normal. It's nothing to worry about unless it gets like super period-like. But I'll tell you something, I was scared. Luckily it seems to have stopped. I only had it for about a couple of hours, but I was literally like, oh dear Lord, this is it. This is the end of this one. Oh no. Googling. I was in the gym Googling. I did hardly anything in the gym because I was terrified I was going to do something and move something around in there. Yeah, terrified. And yes, no fun. So I'm 6 weeks 2 days I believe today. I just want to get out of this. Like one time I think maybe once I'm on like 8 or 9 weeks I'll feel a bit better, but this still really early days thing is making me anxious. Like I've seen people's videos of miscarrying, not them actually miscarrying obviously, people talking about miscarriages on YouTube recently. Just happened to just popped up as I've been looking at like pregnancy stuff that's come up as well. And so obviously that puts thoughts in your mind, and I shouldn't be thinking of anything like that. I should be positive, but yes, it is a thought that I have on a regular basis. My pregnancy anxiety, I didn't realise was a thing, is I'm literally, like I said, I'm Googling everything. I think also I think the other reason I've got such bad anxiety over it is because I haven't had symptoms like other people have. And I know that morning sickness sounds horrific, and I'm, you know, glad I don't have it at the minute, but obviously if I had it, then I would be sure everything was okay, because it's a completely normal thing to have. That's my 6 weeks update. 7 weeks again on Saturday. I cannot wait for, my thought process is I have to take every day and just go through every day that comes. I'm like, okay, one more day gone, one more day closer to 12 weeks. And I have my first doctor's appointment on Monday. I don't know what they're going to do, because I know you don't have a scan until you're 12 weeks, so God knows what they're going to do in there. Just look at me. So yes, fun time. So today is 7 weeks and 2 days of being pregnant. I thought I'd do a little weekly update, me and my pal here. I've just come back from my first doctor's appointment, which was essentially, well, when I first booked it, I was thinking it was going to be like a proper doctor's appointment where they're going to like take bloods, take urine samples, do all that stuff. But no, because I'm only 7 weeks, he was like, no, we don't do anything like that. All we're doing is finding out which hospital, you not lick your bum near me. We're finding out which hospital I want to give birth in, and then just taking my bloods, taking my weight, taking my height, and figuring out like a due date and things like that. And yeah, that was it really. Obviously just confirming don't drink any alcohol and don't do drugs, and checking my health is, well, I haven't got any sort of health issues. So yeah, that was that. I was quite underwhelming actually. I thought it'd be a bit more exciting than it was. So the past week has been so far the hardest one. There's only been 6 weeks, let's be serious, and last week, the 6th week, was quite a hard one, and I was relieved to get to the 7th one, because all last week I was terrified that something was going wrong. For that last week I was spotting. If you're a girl you know what that is, if you're a guy you can Google it. I was spotting and cramping a bit, and so I was literally terrified. It happened first on Monday, and then it kind of just was the same all week. It has actually stopped, touch wood. And apparently it's completely normal, nothing to worry about. It's just, as someone put online, it's the baby tidying up its bed, which is a nice and also really gross way of putting things. Yeah, so it was really worrying. I didn't like it, but like I say, touch wood, it stopped now. In regards to any other symptoms, so far this week I have started feeling nauseous in the morning a lot more noticeably. Yesterday I felt nauseous pretty much all day, but it wasn't nauseous where like I was sort of on the bed feeling sick. It was sort of like carrying my day but not feeling great. But the nausea I'm feeling is like hungry nausea. So I'm like feeling hungry because I haven't eaten. Then I'll eat, but I feel nauseous, so I won't eat, and then I feel like I'm having, you know, it's like a cycle of being hungry, nauseous, but then eating and being too nauseous to eat. It's a hard thing to explain. But the thing I have found with this pregnancy, which is a funny one, and it's hard because all the symptoms that they've got written down that you have in early pregnancy, I don't know if they're symptoms or just me being me. For example, I am usually feeling quite nauseous in the morning because I'm hungry a lot of the time. Or I can feel nauseous at like lunchtime because I'm hungry. And my usual eating pattern is I eat little and often throughout the day. I have I'm always hungry essentially. But I'm always eating to stop that always being hungry. But if I go to a point where I haven't eaten for a long period of time, I will kind of get a bit, feel like sicky feeling. Because I'm so hungry. So with the pregnancy thing, I'm like, well, is this because I'm pregnant nausea, or is this just normal nausea? I do think it's pregnancy because it is constant as opposed to usually where it's sort of like comes and goes. Now the next thing is cravings. I in life have cravings all the time. So much so, for example, again, if I go to so I went to the gym and there was a sign on the wall for a discount in Chipotle. So I saw this advert one time and I couldn't stop thinking about Chipotle for about a week and a half, and then I finally had it because I needed it because I've been thinking about it for so much. This happens with things like I'll be walking down the street and I'll be like, oh, I can't think of any foods now. Haven't had any sausage rolls for a while, and so then I'll be like, I need some sausage rolls, and so I need sausage rolls, and so I'll do everything I can to get sausage rolls. So now I'm pregnant, I'm like, is this just me being greedy? The other day I ate 3 bags of crisps because I was like, I'm craving crisps, and then this morning at 11 o'clock I had a bag of knickknacks, so I'm craving skips and knickknacks. But am I just craving them, or do I just want to eat them and I'm thinking it's because I'm pregnant? This is a tricky thing, because also I've looked online. I know not everything online is, you know, true for everyone, but it says online that cravings come in the 2nd trimester and towards the end of the 1st trimester. And so technically I am 7 weeks, so technically I would be towards the end, but I'm towards the early end of the 1st trimester. But yeah, nothing else really to report. I am slightly concerned about the weight gain thing. I know it's completely normal. I know it's what you're meant to do. I know you're supposed to gain weight, but it really is heightening my fear of putting on weight, which I didn't think I had, but I knew I had. It's a weird thought. Like I said, I've never had an eating disorder or anything like that, but since now I know I need to put on weight, I am panicking a bit at the thought of putting on weight. And I don't know if that's, I'm sure most people maybe go through that. Yeah, and then the final thing I guess is we are planning on having an early scan, just because I am too much of a worrier to wait until the 12-week scan, which is in early mid-January. What is this going on, for God's sake? I read online about, well no, I watched someone's video about an ectopic pregnancy. I've read online about ectopic pregnancies. I've read online about other things which they say you shouldn't do. You should only read positive stories online, not negative, but they're always mixed together anyway. But similar to the craving thing, once something's in my mind I can't stop thinking about it until it's like out of my mind. With this ectopic pregnancy thing, I'm like, I need to know that everything's fine. I can't wait until January. It's just going to be the worst thing ever, waiting until January for that sort of information. I think that, you know, as far as I'm aware, everything's fine and dandy, but obviously you can't see inside your body, so I'm just like, I need to be sure. Everything is where it's meant to be, everything's growing like it's meant to be. Yeah, no baby bump yet. I thought I did have a baby bump, but it's actually just bloat. Also, again, they say you don't have a baby bump to at least 14 weeks, so I'm obviously wishful thinking there. Maybe I'm having triplets. No. Hi, so it's me again. It is week 8, although that might be changing. So, any updates? So, last week, the nausea has well and truly kicked in. So I remember, well, I say last week when I said this, but I know it was probably about 3 seconds ago. Last week when I was saying I wasn't sure if it was nausea or just hunger as I've had before, it's definitely nausea because I have it all the time, which is no fun. I've also started breaking out in spots. One thing which is gross is I've started, oh, my eyes just stuck together. Spots wise, my skin has been relatively okay. What's going on here? Been relatively okay. I've got a couple of breakouts, whatever. But I've actually started to get some spots on my back. Never had spots on my back before, so I'm hoping it's just like an influx of hormones and they'll go away, because quite frankly, I don't like that. I think I'd rather have spots on my face than on my back. I'm such a worrywart. I am a typical bad habit person where I'm Googling things. I've read up of all these things that can go wrong, things that can happen and you don't even know it happens, and so I've been reading too much, and I know I shouldn't, but it's just how my brain works. If I start thinking about something, I have to research it to sort of clear my mind of it, and that seed will be planted, like the ectopic pregnancy, the seed will be planted, but I'll sort of rationalise with myself and go, well, surely by now I would know, what have you. So because of all these things going around my head, we did have an early scan. It did cost £70, which is not money I wanted to spend, but I just couldn't imagine waiting till January for the 12-week scan that the NHS give you for free. Without further ado, there it is. Baby! That's the baby. It's hard to understand which way it's meant to be. I think it's this way. And so I was looking at it like this and thinking, I can't figure out what this is, because they're almost like this little round thing is the yolk, which is feeding the baby, and the rest of it is the baby. And I was looking at it thinking, I can't see, you see, I can't see how that would ever be a baby. Then I looked at this way around, and you see that's the yolk, but then if you see that's a head and a body, and this little thing here I think is an arm of some sort, this little thing there. You can see it a bit better that way around. So I think that's how you did it. TMI, sorry if it is. So yes, it was an internal scan. Your mind can wander in any way it pleases there. It wasn't the nicest thing I've ever had done to me, to be honest. It was horrible. It wasn't painful, I'll give you that bit. It wasn't painful, it just wasn't very pleasant. It was a bit like, oh, just to be a TMI bit of that there. I don't understand how it works, because I don't understand how, because she was, at one point she was looking at my ovaries. How that worked, I don't know, because I was under the impression that it was a lot further away than everything is, and how you don't upset the baby, the fetus, I don't know. Like I said, when that was happening, I wasn't really paying attention. I was sort of like this. So yeah. Yeah, so everything is fine, thank God. Oh, that's the other thing. On this scan, which is very confusing, on this scan it said that the baby was measuring at 7 weeks, not 8. I don't understand how that works. So again, I googled it, because you have to know these things, and googling came up with 2 things. One, it is that the baby wasn't in the right position, but the woman didn't say it wasn't though. Not like it's in a wrong position, but as in to measure it, it was maybe on its side or on its back. I don't know how he meant to measure these things. So it could be that the measurement isn't accurate because of that reason, or it's because of how conception works, and maybe it didn't happen when I thought it did, which doesn't make sense at all for me. But as far as I know right now, I'm sticking with 8 weeks. All my apps that I have that I put in the information for, it says 8 weeks. When I go for my 12-week scan, they can confirm what the deal is, and if I'm due in July or in August. I'm not fussed either way. I mean, I'd rather be 8 weeks, because then it means I'm closer to the 12 weeks. I just want these 12 weeks to be over, and the stress of being 12-week pregnant to be over. Hello! It has been a couple of weeks since I've last vlogged, filmed my updates So, well, there's been a development to a point. I am now week 10 / week 9. So here's the deal. I went for a scan at a place called The Birth Company, and they do, from 10 weeks onwards, you can go, they have a blood test and they check if the baby is healthy. There's no chromosome issues with the baby, which is something we wanted to do because we just want to check everything is healthy with the baby so far. So you have that, obviously you have to have a scan first to make sure you are actually pregnant and the baby is happy and good and stuff. So I had the scan, but the woman said to me, your baby is only, I'll look at what it says. So I thought I was 10 weeks one day when I went to see her, the lady, not not the baby, when I saw the lady. And she said it was only 2.5 centimetres, and 10 weeks is around 3 centimetres. So she's put me back a week, 5 days, to being back at week 9. But I have another scan on Saturday, and that's when we'll find out if the baby's then grown to 10 weeks. If it has grown to 10 weeks, then it'll be fine. But yeah, and then I have a blood test, and the blood test will also be able to tell me the gender, which we will be finding out. I always was a person who said I would never find out the gender because there's not enough surprises in life, blah blah blah. But then as I got older and I saw people who I know have babies without finding out the gender, the stress that caused me for not knowing someone else's baby's gender is something I can't do to myself. The thought of having a human in me and not knowing the gender would drive me mad. So yeah. So we'll see. And so basically this is the baby. This was the baby at 7 weeks. I remember I showed it to you, or 6 weeks, whatever I said it was. And then here it is again, obviously a bit closer. This is the arm, feet, and the head. It does look at, there's a head forming, and I was like, please say it's fine. But obviously it's still early days yet, so it's not going to be. The heartbeats obviously were fine, and the baby was moving around, as you can see from that photo, where it's a big blur. It's hard to see. I feel like Rachel in Friends was like, can't see my own baby. But yes. Symptoms wise, exhaustion, my God, I've never had anything like it. When people say they're tired, I'm like, cool. When people say they're tired because they're pregnant, it is insane. My God. You literally cannot, I was like, as soon as you stop doing anything and you sit down, you suddenly go, whoa. And you can't move, you're so tired, it's mad. I had that a couple of weeks ago as well, on and off. I'd just come home from work and just sit on the sofa and fall asleep, which was fun. Yeah, luckily no throwing up though, just nausea. I've been eating everything as well, like I'm not savoury or sweet, I am anything and everything. I'm eating a bag of crisps at work today, a sharer bag of chipsticks, eaten about half of them already. But if someone were to give me a vegan trifle right now, I would eat the whole thing. Like I'm just completely, I will eat anything and everything. Oh, except for things I don't like. I just squashed my finger. But that's it really. So yeah, I've got another scan on Saturday, which will give me a bit more closure. And then after that scan, this one we had to pay for again. After that scan, next week, Wednesday and Saturday on Sean's birthday, I have the NHS 12-week scan, which will obviously be an 11-week scan by that point, because I'm assuming the baby's 5 days behind what we originally thought. What can you do? Hello. So it's been a while. I'm currently I'm in week 11 now. I haven't filmed too many updates because quite honestly, nothing really has changed dramatically at all. I've had a couple of updates for you now, but realistically, the past couple of weeks have been pretty much the same. Tiredness here and there. Some days I'm perfectly fine, some days like today I'm like that. Oh, the usual stuff. I haven't been too nauseous either, which is good. That's sort of fading, as they say it does apparently by week 12, and I'm 2 days away. Come on. The biggest change, or not change, the biggest update I have, or two biggest updates I have, is I had the results back from the Harmony test. And the Harmony test is an ultrasound to check you're pregnant and everything's well, and then they take your blood, and the blood will then go off to wherever it goes to. Actually, I didn't have the Harmony test, I lie. I had the panorama test, which is similar to the Harmony test but a little bit more advanced. It's the same price, but it does a few more chromosome checking. I don't know why you bother having the Harmony test if you have the panorama test as an option. And then I had my 12-week ultrasound appointment. 12-week ultrasound, obviously it was 11 weeks, and that's where this picture came from. There it is. And so these are the legs, I believe, which is ridiculous. I think, and then that's the arms, and that's the umbilical cord. How ridiculous is that, the legs? I'm like, how can that be legs? But I mean, the ultrasound lady measured everything. Is everything in the right place? There's 2 legs, 2 arms. The woman was a bit annoyed at me because I hadn't drunk enough water, so my bladder was not stretching out my uterus, and I was like, I need a wee, so I don't know what else you want me to do because I'll wet myself otherwise. Just pushing down and wiggling around to try and get the baby to move and stretch out so she can measure it properly. And then, that was on Saturday, Sean's birthday, we had this scan. And then on the Monday, we had the results back from panorama test, and everything is a-okay, thank goodness. So all is healthy with the baby. Chromosome wise, obviously you still have the 20-week scans, check for abnormalities and what have you and all that, which I'm not looking forward to, but you have to have it done. Chromosome wise, all is healthy. We also found out the gender. Physically, no changes, still no bump, fine by me, I'm not fussed. I apparently need to keep on putting on weight, but I don't know how you're meant to put on weight, because the only way I know how to put on weight is if you sit down all day and eat McDonald's, and I'm not doing that, so I don't know how to put on weight. Maybe we'll see in the second trimester when apparently your cravings and your hunger kicks in. So yeah, we shall see. But anyway, hopefully I can edit this, because that'd be good. See ya laters. Bye.